The following video was captured by Franco, an Italian man who loved the idea of exploring as much nature as physically possible. Around nature, he felt like he was in his element, and barely anything managed to scare him until the day that this clip was taken. He was in some form of woodland area and came across the entrance to a cave, so he entered it. He expected a hostile animal as a worst-case scenario and approached the cave with caution. But once he got in, this was not what he would be facing.
Allora, è veramente impressionante. E poi è scavata come una bara. Ed è scavata dall'uomo, vedete? A picconate proprio. È strettissima. È molto bassa, molto piccola. E ci sono queste nicchie che non so che cosa sono. Avete sentito? È angustissima. Angustissima. Io mi fermerò a un certo punto perché no, non ce la faccio, sento. Merda. No, aiuto. Porca puttana. Aiuto. Allora, ragazzi, è da tornare, ma almeno con un caschetto. C'è stato il momento che ho sentito un bruttissimo rumore in fondo, non so quanto sia profonda, però è una cava, cioè deve essere una miniera. Quindi tornerò con Jack e con qualche informazione in più. No, è assurda, veramente assurda, sembra l'ingresso.
Some sort of whistling sound could be heard in the cave, and Franco made sure to search it all. He thought that perhaps somebody who was in need of help would be at the end, but to his dismay, there was not a soul in sight. He claimed to have felt a cold feeling overwhelm him that night, which further adds to the theory that this was a haunt, and Franco never ventured into these specific woods again. Ghost hunting is a task that only the bravest of people undertake, because these paranormal creatures are the least researched entities on the planet. Not only can we not see them, but we also have no clue what they truly are, so respect is due for these brave adventurers. The ones in this next video were working for the YouTube channel, Proving Demons, who have a self-explanatory goal. They want to prove the existence of entities beyond the human eye living on our planet. Throughout this video, they were searching an old mine shaft that was so ridiculously haunted that they believed it to be some sort of portal to hell. Have a watch.
So what these two are doing are periodically stopping to check the safety of the mine. These guys seem to be very knowledgeable in mines. Which I guess in general would make me feel safer about the whole situation. Not very often we have actual tunneling, knowledgeable people in tunneling with us. Welcome everyone to the gates of hell. I don't even know if God can help us beyond this point. Welcome to the gates of hell, everybody. We're in.
Alright, come on, Andrew. How you going for that?
I am. Hand me my camera now. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Tight spaces all of a sudden.
This gate was known as the Gate of Hell, and beyond this point was where every single paranormal recording in the mine had been captured. The crew knew that they were in for some frights, but nothing could have prepared them for the sheer magnitude of them.
Makes my stomach queasy. It's all right. Keep marching through, because it's EVP time. Oh, God, I'm not even kidding. I honestly feel sick to my stomach. Dead silence. What was that? Is that wind? I honestly feel like I'm gonna throw up. Let's just keep moving. Hello? Is there anybody down here with me? Can you make a noise? I hear like moaning or wailing. Like dead serious. Is that something there?
The crew decided that going separate ways would be the most efficient way to capture paranormal activity, and so they all went down different mine routes. This clip was the first one caught. The man heard some wailing or howling noises coming from down the shaft, and was immediately aware of the potential that this was a spirit. He took out a device of his to confirm this, and it did tell him that something was there, but unfortunately, it did not react when asked to do something else. Frightened but still motivated to collect more evidence for the crew, the man continued down this path, and the next set of sounds were much more terrifying.
You guys, I can hear what sounds like a drum beat. And moaning. What the hell is that? Oh God, it's getting louder. Do you hear that? Oh God, I don't like that. Crap, I need to try and catch some of it on recorder. There's some hellish noises going on. Oh God, I can't go that way though. I just heard like a whisper, well, like a breathing. I don't want to be near that though. Screw that. Screw that. I'll take the whispering over the demon chants. Thank you very much. Oh. God, I hope I'm going the right way. Oh, crap. Just carefully get away. I don't like that. I do not like that. Freaking demonic sounding chanting. Screw that.
From moaning as if someone was in agony to demonic ritual-sounding noises, the man was understandably freaked out by the situation and made it his goal to escape as quickly as possible. Fortunately, he did get out of the mine unscathed and had to wait 30 minutes for the rest of the group to re-emerge. They got an entertaining YouTube video from this experience, but at what cost? In recent times, cave diving has become a viral activity that has all sorts of crazy clips being released about it. It is an extremely dangerous hobby that people can be dragged towards and has caused many deaths, and the video that you are going to be exposed to shortly was a horrific example. Fortunately, the man involved did not pass away during this incident and made it out okay, and I will explain why after you take a look for yourself.
Out. Come here. Come on. Go. Misty. What do you think about this, Misty? Keep looking. Stay behind me. What the fuck is that? Oh shit! Go. Come on, Missy. Come on, Missy.
Him and his dog were deep into the cave when eventually they came across a group of bats. Bats are very diseased creatures, so the dog's owner decided that they should turn back on themselves, but this is when they came across something far scarier. A tall, uncanny figure standing in the cave, which surely could not have belonged to a real human. The duo turned around and went to find another exit, which you will be glad to hear they did, and have lived the rest of their lives since with joy. On October the 18th of 2009, Jack Slaughters, somebody who enjoyed exploring places, decided that he was going to pay a visit to the Blue Ghost Tunnel. As you can probably decipher from the name of the location, this place was renowned for its ghost sightings and spooky hauntings, so Jack could not help but test these claims out. Instead of going in all alone, he got his girlfriend to come with him so that if one of them became injured, the other could help. And to his surprise, she actually agreed to tag along. Would this place turn out to be nothing but a rumor, or would it truly give Jack and his girlfriend the fright of their lives? You'll have to watch to find out.
So we're going on a road trip right now to the ghost tunnels, Blue Ghost Tunnels in St. Catharines area, and we're going to check out what we can find on the outside of the tunnel. We're not going to really go into the tunnel because we didn't bring a flashlight, but we're going to try to get as close as possible to where all this stuff happens. I'll tell you when we get there what actually happened. A lot of people died, so that's where we're headed right now. If you point the camera that way, you can see that it's fall time, so it's a good time to go. It's a little chilly out today, but we'll see what we find out there. Okay, we'll see you by the tunnel. Yeah, this is it. The Blue Ghost Tunnel. Get a further back view of it. Whoa. I can hear your footsteps. I don't know if the camera could pick this up, but listen in the background. I've just been informed that there's no trains in this area anymore. And then it disappears. I'm gonna go a little bit further in the tunnel. If I don't come back in 5 minutes, just wait longer. So I came back in the tunnel for a second time, so I'm trying to find the other side of how you get to the other side. I can see a light at the end of this tunnel, but I can't see where the bridge and the tunnel intersect. If that's you coming closer to me, could you please stop? I just seen a light at the end of the tunnel. What the f? Hello? What the f was that? That was weird though. That whole side of the tunnel lit up like a flashlight.
Yeah.
So now we went 3/4 of the way down the tunnel. We can't go any further because there's water down there. There's like a river. But where we started was way back there, where you can see the light. And where I saw that light was like over here where it's lit up a little bit, but there was a flashlight. There's no possible way anybody could have got down here because that area is blocked off with water. So I don't know how the heck I seen that. So what did you think of this place? It's scary in here. You can feel like the tension. Yeah, we'll wait till they come back. So we did come and see the Blue Ghost tunnels. We seen a little bit more than we expected.
The duo expected nothing more than a few moving objects and some odd noises, but they quickly discovered that they had company in the tunnel. The light indicated that somebody or something was on the other end, and after inquiring to some people at surface level, they hadn't seen anyone else go in. Spooky stuff. Jose and his friends loved bike riding, and when one of them asked the group chat for a late-night ride, not a single one of them rejected the offer. It sounded amazing because they could travel the woods and the roads with little to no pedestrians or cars causing them to slow down. So before the incident that you are going to see happened, it was their best bike ride ever. Of course though, this is a haunter video, so something occurred that made this ride not so fun. And here it is.
Cuidado cuando salgan a las rodadas nocturnas.
What appeared to be the apparition of a woman showed herself at the side of the bikers' trail, and this severely put them off. After seeing the apparition, they all started to ride much faster and came to a halt shortly after the incident. They all discussed what they had seen and drew the conclusion that it was likely a weird light reflection, but I believe this was just them attempting to make themselves feel better. This was certainly a ghost, and I am sure that you would agree. The following video took place in the Horton Mine, a place that had never been logged to have held any paranormal events. The man who was about to explore the baseline of the mine was called Steve, and he was not there for any reason other than he enjoyed exploring places such as this. But this time around, it was not about to be a fun experience. Steve has been inside over 100 abandoned mines, and not a single one of them has given off the energy that this one did. So he knew that something was up, and this video proved his theory.
Okay, here's a lower adit at the Victorine mine. I believe this was an older mine that once they dug the upper tunnels, this got incorporated into the same claim or whatever. I forget what this was called, this particular mine entrance here, but this one's got a little bit of water in it coming out of it. Not much. Okay, here's a shot looking down the adit from just inside the portal, and some water here and there. So I'll go up here just a little bit further and see if it dries out any. Okay, a little further inside the tunnel here. There's still water. You can see it really flowing here in front of me, right here, and this coming out here, out the tunnel. I'll go a few feet further in and check it out, but I think I'm going to pass on this one. This is one of the creepiest mine tunnels I've ever been in, just because of how dilapidated it is and all these chains hanging down from the overhead, and there's a shot looking down the tunnel even further a bit. And taking a look around here back at the entrance, which is there. Okay, here's a shot looking back towards the entrance. I'm a little bit further in. And looking down the tunnel here. one chain is swinging back there. Don't know if you can see that in the video or not. Yeah, this mine definitely has a very spooky vibe to it. So I'm going to head back out and check out the other stuff that's here. This is just too wet and too muddy. And obviously something is making the chains swing. So time to get the hell out of here.
After watching this clip, many people doubted it and believed that Steve was nothing but a faker who wanted more exposure on his exploration content. Due to all of this controversy, the science television program Strange Evidence aired the clip in a season 3 episode and deemed the video as legit, making it fairly believable. After this incident, Steve went back to his normal job of visiting mines across the country and documenting their insides for his audience to see. The experiences followed the trend and also returned to normal ones, but quite some time later, another paranormal incident was posted.
So let's head back out. Sometimes we can see stuff on the way out that we missed coming in because we were facing the wrong direction. But yeah, this is crazy. These timbers up there. That's really dangerous. So we'll get through here as fast as we can and get out of here before this all comes down. Here's that ore chute again. And I gotta get past this chute. Wow, crazy. And then you can see how big these timbers are. That's about almost a foot in diameter, the big cross timber. So they had to put big ones in here to hold up all of this rock. And you can see right here where some of these boards are bending. Do you hear that? Sounds like, what is that, wind? I don't know if you can hear that on the camera. Do you hear that? It stopped. Well, I don't know what that is. That doesn't sound like wind, but that's crazy. Don't know if that's a bird or I don't know what that is. It almost sounds like snakes, but wow. I've heard some weird stuff in mines, but that is definitely creepy. I don't know what that is. So let's get out of here and head back out to the portal. That was weird. I don't hear it. Wow, that was strange. All right, so, Jesus. That's the wall deck mine, main haulage tunnel, and this is the Through Night TN12 flashlight review and demonstration. So, highly recommended. The only one thing I could think of would be that it might need a diffuser tip, because see how it makes a white spot? It kind of washes everything out, so, well, I think
This is the same video with the enhanced audio effect to help you better understand.
Where some of these boards are bending. Do you hear that? Sounds like, is that wind? I don't know if you can hear that on the camera. You hear that? It stopped. Wow. Wow. I don't know what that is. That doesn't sound like wind, but that's crazy. Don't know if that's a bird or I don't know what that is. It almost sounds like snakes, but I've heard some weird stuff in mines, but that is definitely creepy. I don't know what that is. So let's get out of here and that was weird.
The spirit said all sorts of spooky things such as, "Hear us, get out of this place," and even asked if he could hear them. This was a surreal experience and caused Steve to exit the mine instantly. Fortunately, it did not completely put him off his hobby, but it definitely made him more curious for future circumstances. I swear, man. These cave divers are doing everything except trying to survive, bro. These guys could hear about a cave called Death Valley, with a kill count of over 300, and still think it sounds like a cool adventure. Like, look at this guy.
Pushing it down. It's getting lower.
It's getting lower? Buddy, it's already low as fuck.
This is not good. Like, legit, to move forward, I have to dig the rocks out. Oh my god. If this ceiling even collapses like an inch, I'm squished like a bug.
You might as well try to crawl under a door at that point because that width is crazy work. The thing is that this guy probably has a wife and 2 kids with a $600,000 salary job and still thought that he could survive this. Cave divers need to be stopped. During the October of 2011, a YouTuber who goes by the name of Mellow Bird experienced one of, if not the most unsettling nights of his entire life. Now we have actually peeked into the life of Mellow several times before, and his experiences in the paranormal are starting to become a regular occurrence, hence his name continuously coming up here. The following video was filmed late in the evening, just after Mellow was watching television, and he started to record because of some noises.
Stopped again. Typical. Okay. All right. Guess in the bathroom. Just follow the curtain now. Garden time, I think. Okay. I'm gonna go hide over in the corner when nothing can get to me. No, I don't know. I'm going to the garden. Garden corner. Garden, mythical garden. Garden.
All around his place, there were extremely unnatural instances, and Mellow, wanting to capture the moment for his now established community, followed the activity everywhere it went. A ghost as active as this one is not common, and Mellow had no clue how rare his experience truly was, and he is very fortunate he didn't frustrate the spirit, because that would have only gone one way, downhill. Cameras are one of the greatest and most advanced things that humankind has managed to make, and it is strange to think that something capable of capturing moments could be created with resources solely from our planet. Why am I mentioning this, you may wonder? Well, there are tons of pieces of footage across the world captured using these devices, but there is one niche that isn't discussed enough: the paranormal, and that is exactly what this next clip, filmed using a webcam, was able to do. Somehow, not only did a banana collapse to the floor, but the chair also took it upon itself to move, which essentially proved that this wasn't a natural incident. After checking the footage after receiving a movement notification, Gracie rushed back home and investigated the entire area to be more than certain some sort of animal or intruder didn't cause this. As expected, nothing was discovered. The following video is a piece from Dark Path Scary, and they took it upon themselves to explore a house renowned for being haunted. They chose to take this mission because on their channel, they look into all sorts of haunted environments, making it the perfect fit. However, they had no idea just how strong the spirit of this house was. Typically, on an adventure, the team would be fortunate to come off with 2 pieces of footage, but these guys managed to escape with tons of ghostly events on camera, and today, I am going to show you one of them. Have a watch.
Is that you?
There are any ghostly spirits in this house?
No way, dude.
Dude.
No way. Did that piano just seriously play by itself?
Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
Oh, dude, we should get out of this. Oh my gosh.
Oh, man. Holy shit. Hold on. We came here to do this. We're actually getting...
The fact that the piano played once was enough to convince the crew that the house was definitely haunted, but when it continuously slammed down on the keys, it came off as seriously aggressive. This is why, despite their long experience, the Dark Path Scary team ran in fear of their lives, until they were in the safe zone that we know as daylight. Andrea was a brave woman, and was known in her local town for never being afraid. I was unable to find out where she garnered such a reputation, but in order to obtain one, she must have faced some common fears, at a bare minimum. However, despite her status of being brave and fearless, what happened in the footage that I am about to show you captured her at her lowest point. She was running. If that doesn't tell you that this next clip was terrifying, then I don't know what will.
Estoy parando en esta casa que tengo acá atrás, pero de noche escucho golpes en esta casa que está acá. Ahí. Me quiero acercar a ver si veo a alguien o a ver si veo algo. Creo que está abandonada. No tiene autos, no veo gente, pero a la noche se escuchan golpes. voy a acercar todo lo más pueda para poder verla. Es esta casa que está acá, miren. Voy a ir mejor por el frente de la casa. Tiene también esta casilla que está acá, pero está cerrada. Escucho ruidos. Me vuelvo para mi casa, chicos. No sé qué pasa ahí, no lo sé.
The tree was in perfect health, and the branch snapped by itself, which does not normally happen. Furthermore, Andrea claimed to have heard breathing from the tree as she ran away, which made it pretty clear that someone or something caused the branch to fall. Now you are probably thinking some sort of wild animal did this, and that's completely normal, because I did too. However, when she panned the camera up the tree, it was evident that nothing was there except for her. According to statistics, dolls are the most likely object to be haunted by a spirit by an absolute landslide, and humans have no idea why this is the case. One of the most logical theories is that ghosts, which were probably human in their physical form, crave the feeling of being in a human body again, and using a doll is the closest thing to the real deal, but again, that's just a theory. Going on to the topic of our upcoming clip, a mother of two called Shirley had come home from work when her youngest daughter came up to her and explained that she received a gift. After prompting her daughter to explain who gave her the gift and why, though, she discovered a terrifying backstory. Before we dive into that, though, let's watch the horrible thing that the doll did.
Esta cosa se está... Mira, fíjate, va para el cuarto de la niña. ¿Te das cuenta? Mírala, va para el cuarto de la niña. ¿Qué tienes, muñeca? Tengo nervios de tocarla. Muñeca, ¿qué tienes? ¿Por qué lloras? No llores. ¿Qué tienes? ¿Qué quieres? A ver, dime, ¿qué quieres? ¿Qué es lo que te pasa, muñeca? ¿Estás enojada? ¿Qué tienes, pues? ¿Qué tienes? ¿Por qué lloras de esta forma? ¿Qué tienes? ¿Qué vas a buscar al cuarto de mi hija? ¿Qué se te perdió allá? ¿Nada se te perdió en el cuarto de ella? ¿Qué quieres? ¿Por qué haces todo esto? Desde que llegaste aquí a esta casa, todo ha estado así contigo. ¿Qué es lo que realmente quieres? A ver, dime, ¿quién eres tú? Responde.
Now the doll was battery powered, but after checking the back, there were no batteries inside of it. It made absolutely no sense that it would move by itself, but when the mother heard the lore from her daughter, it all made sense. On her way home from school, she and her father went under a sketchy bridge to get home faster, when an elderly lady on the streets, presumably homeless, offered them the doll. Feeling sympathetic, the duo accepted and gave the lady some food. This is when the puzzle came together. The lady had passed away, and this was the doll she used to possess. In the upcoming video, a woman called Madison was fast asleep when she was awoken by some strange noises coming from outside the door. At first, she had no idea what could have been causing these noises, but after listening in closely, she came to a pretty accurate conclusion. It took place at 3 in the morning and frightened the poor woman for weeks. Have a watch.
I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm kind of
scared shitless right now. It's currently 3:17 a.m. I got up to go pee, and now I'm scared to open the door again because I'm hearing footsteps. Let me see if I can get it on tape where y'all can hear it.
As you can tell, the noise was footsteps, and Madison was adamant that her children were asleep at the time. After hearing the noises, she decided to open the door to be certain that her children were not the cause, and unsurprisingly, no one was on the other side. Furthermore, just to prove the direness of the situation to a further degree, after ending the video, she went to check on her daughter, and she was fast asleep. Madison was pleased that she was able to get rest, but at the same time, scared that it was confirmed she had met a spirit. The man in the next piece of footage is called Zark, and it is safe to say that if you have watched this channel before, you will have likely seen him before. This is because his story is everlasting, and he can't seem to get enough of paranormal activity. But anyways, I will summarize his story. He and his family had been going through a ton of paranormal events and eventually came to the conclusion that moving out would be the best idea. Almost with immediate effect, they relocated to a new home in Dubai rather than India, but they had no idea that this was only the beginning of their paranormal adventures.
I think I'm gonna go crazy very soon because I'm hearing stuff and I don't recognize whether it's happening real or not, because whenever I record videos, when I play it back, all I get to know is that there's no sound in the video. I just woke up hearing that the TV is on. It's almost gonna be 3 very soon. By 4:30 I need to wake up again. Got no sleep. Can you hear it, guys? Because I don't know whether I'm dreaming or I just tried to sleep for a while and again the sound woke me up. Is this real? I just laid down in my bed for 15 minutes and this sound started happening again. You know, one thing I always remember is like people ask me, why is the home always dark? I'll show you something. You see, the light switch, all three are on. I usually keep them on because normally during the haunting hours, the lights go off. See? If you go to my previous videos, you will see all these buttons, all these switches, they work for the chandeliers and the lights over here. Plus, you see the kitchen light is on, but there's no light. I'll show you something. See, the restroom, nothing works. But rest everything works in the house. That's the most strangest part. As you can see, the TV switch, the light is on. See? You can see the camera light is on. Even the switches. See? The red light. Even this. See? The internet light is on. So everything works at home except the lights during the haunting hours. I'll show you something as well. You can see this? All the appliances work at home except the lights during the haunting hours. I'm sorry, there's nothing much in the fridge because it's only me now. All I just eat nowadays is just croissant and I have some drinks. What's happening again? There was a malfunction. As you can see, all these lights are on except for this one. I hope it doesn't work now. I better remove this. Maybe there's a switch problem. I don't know, guys. I think I'm losing my mind. Once I look back at this video only I can confirm whether that's working or not. Fuck it, I'm not going near it again.
Just like their old house, it was riddled with paranormal activity, and they had no clue why the hauntings continued. With the information they had as a fact, though they just assumed it was haunting them rather than their old house, and they needed to sort it out for real this time. However, they did get one more piece of footage that night, which I want to show you.
That's sweet. I just woke up and there was some sound over here. But it's very strange that lights are on now. Normally there's no activities during the night, but I could hear some sound. Oh God. The haunting hours begin. Oh, Jesus. The door just opened.
From strange noises and opening doors all the way to footsteps running at him, Zark could barely stay conscious during this situation based on fear alone. It's safe to say that his hyperventilation under his bed sheets were justified, and all of us would have reacted similarly. Subscribe so you don't miss the rest of Zark's story. Pets are something that many people can relate to, and they are meant to bring happiness and comfort to a family. From dogs to cats all the way to birds, the animals kept as pets have a wide variation. But the one in the following video was a cat. Paul and McKinley had recently spent a few $100s on food and toys for their brand new rescued cat, who they took pride in wanting to take care of. However, for some odd reason, the cat disliked all of its toys, and so Paul thought he would try to entertain it with something as simple as a ribbon. What was the worst that could happen? A simple rejection of the toy? No, something much worse.
Oh, love him, Ben.
Look at him, man. But give him his toys that we spent 30 quid on at the start. He won't play with them like this. He's not interested. Give him a ribbon that we found bloody lying about. He loves it.
Was that a ball?
I think it was.
Somehow, a ball behind Paul rolled away from the duo playing together, and this forced Paul to come to a complete halt. Fortunately, he managed to catch the phenomenon on camera, or nobody would have believed him, so he showed his relatives and posted it to social media for all to see. To his dismay, they still deemed him stupid and explained that he probably generated a whoosh of air to push the ball when swinging the ribbon around. I am pretty sure a ribbon cannot generate enough wind to move an object, though. Who posts consistently to try and obtain his dream of being a full-time content creator. His main subject on the TikTok is horror-related videos, giving his audience information on spooky things that occur across the world. However, little did any of his fan base know that one of his videos was going to be a first-hand experience of the male behind the account. Here it is.
I'm making a video right now because I just heard something fucking loud as fuck in the bathroom. Sounded like something fell. Oh shit. That was up there. What the fuck? Dick. Oh shit!
After kicking back and watching some television, he heard an item drop in the bathroom, but had a suspicious feeling about it, so decided to investigate with his camera rather than without. Thank the Lord that he had this feeling though, because it was correct, and a shampoo bottle dropped in front of his very eyes. Considering he knew a lot about spooky and some paranormal information, you would have expected him to at least identify the cause of the event. Unfortunately though, this was not the case, and no one knows what caused it to this day. On October 26th of 2024, Franco Claret was in his living room enjoying his day off work when one of the weirdest 30 seconds of life came out of nowhere. The time was roughly 2 a.m. in the morning, but being hooked to the show he was watching, Franco could not help but continue binging it, and he actually had no idea of the time until after the incident happened. He explained after the clip went mainstream that he would never stay up so late with his own company again, and he still sits in fear when in that room to this very day. If you think he was exaggerating, then pay close attention to the upcoming footage, because it was pretty horrifying to say the least. From the curtains drifting and the door opening all the way to the object falling at the end, it was very apparent that something unordinary was happening. Franco called his girlfriend after the incident and she didn't believe him one bit. He somehow got sleep that night and never encountered anything similar again. Family gatherings are supposed to be a time for communication and love, but the one in the video that I am about to show you turned out to be far from that, at least towards the end. For the first 2 hours or so, nothing went wrong whatsoever, and everybody was having a fabulous time after not seeing each other in so long. Little did anyone know that there was an unexpected guest in the room with them.
Ya estamos aquí en la merienda. Tamalito con chocolate, queso, pan y mantecadita. Buen provecho para todos. Marta siente... usted le va a tomar la foto a los...
At the bottom of the screen, a child seemingly sprinted across the camera at a pace which would have been very hard for a young person to achieve. Furthermore, considering there was a table in the room, and the woman filming was also in the way, it was highly unlikely that this was a real person running across the frame, leading to just one final conclusion. There was a spirit. The following video involved a security officer and a care home, and things got extremely spooky towards the end, so make sure to stick around. The time was 11 p.m. and the old folk had all just been put to bed by their carers. It was at this time that they sent out the security team to make sure everything was running smoothly, because it would not be fair to release them with the elderly still in the home, as the operation frightened most of them, despite it just being a simple checkup. At least it was usually a simple checkup, because this one was far from that. Take a look.
I'm tripping balls. I'm trying to see if I can get it to do it again.
It was actually quite hard to hear this, but towards the end of the clip, some sort of person whispered here into the camera, and it was obviously a different voice than the man who was filming. A leading theory for the incident was that one of the old folks who must have passed away in the home decided that they were going to overdo their stay as a resident and have some fun with the security who terrified them for years. Moving into a new house is scary, especially when you are relocating to an entirely different country. This was the case for the person who recorded the next clip in this video, and it was very spooky. Abad struggled to learn the English language, and this was the country he decided to migrate to, but he had no idea that this would be the least of his concerns. Due to financial troubles, he was forced to purchase a low-quality, £20,000 house in the north, and it had little to no background checks. Since it was the only affordable property after the British inflation crisis, Abad took what he could though. He just got unfortunate with his unknown roommate.
Otra vez está mamando con la puerta del puto mueble. Me desperto porque escuché como que algo pegaba. Ni siquiera hay puto aire, no se mueve la cortina.
Things like this had happened every night for the 4 days he was in this house so far, and it was a horrible situation to be in. He knew nobody, couldn't speak the native language, and had no money to relocate elsewhere. This was a sticky situation, and the sad reality is that he just had to deal with it. In a previous video on this channel, we dived into the life of Alex, who had some paranormal troubles to say the least. In this video, she heard some strange and unexplainable noises coming from inside her ventilation system, and this time around, she decided to give it a check. At first, there was nothing in there, and Alex was rather surprised to have not discovered a rat infestation. However, what she did find was arguably just as spooky. 2 bones lay on the floor, and below them, an anniversary card. This is the moment that the reality of the situation finally clicked in the head of Alex. Her husband had unfortunately passed away roughly a month before this event happened, leading her to believe that he was the one who caused this. After all, the anniversary card lined up perfectly with how long they had been married for. She went to bed in peace, fully aware that her husband didn't have the heart to cause her any disruption, even if the most evil of entities attempted to convince him otherwise. Well, she was wrong. For the entirety of the night, all Alex could hear was banging, and she was even jump scared by her cat simply running down the stairs. If this was her husband, he was definitely a changed man, and Alex was starting to consider alternative routes. She is currently looking for an exorcist, and if this story continues, it will be featured in future Haunter videos. During the peak of winter, Charlotte was checking her basement after hearing persistent noises that were disturbing everyone in the house from getting any work done, any sleep, and doing general day-to-day activities without being set off course. Like the woman in the last clip, Alex, she assumed she would find some form of rodent infestation and was really frustrated due to how much money pest control was charging at that point in time. However, she should count herself lucky because what she found was not anything to do with pests at all. Unlucky actually, because it was much worse.
To that bathroom. Yeah. And that goes...
After analyzing the footage several times, Charlotte confirmed that there was absolutely no chance that the person could have escaped, and the figure didn't belong to anyone who was supposed to be there. Have a go at solving this mystery in the comments, because nobody present could, and nobody viewing can either. The following man was captured by a man called Dan, and moments before hitting record on his phone, he was having the time of his life. Over the past few weeks, he was watching the brand new series of a show he enjoyed, and on the day of this event, he was up to the last episode. He turned on the episode and got 30 minutes into it, and he later explained that he found it incredible. Unfortunately though, something was about to ruin his enjoyment, and he had no idea what it was.
Poltergeist scares man.
Yes. C'est quoi ce délire? Wesh. C'est quoi ce délire?
These events obviously can't have happened without an exterior interaction, and it was very clear that no one or nothing was fulfilling that role. Dan tried to film the majority of the room to gain as much proof as possible that what he was seeing was real, and to his fortune, people decided to take his word for it. After the event, he went on to do an interview and made sure to make his anger known. It ruined the episode, he stated, and it was super intriguing too. Sammy is a woman in touch with the paranormal world, although she wishes not to be. It all started 2 years prior, when she started to witness odd and unnatural events happening everywhere she went, but she never really took action. This was because whilst the spirit haunting her was consistent at causing disturbances, nothing it did was harmful in any shape or form, so Sammy couldn't be bothered wasting her time on it. The clip that you are about to see was a small test she did to see if the spirit was responsive to her, and the results were shocking.
Can you move that? No. Can you move that again, please? Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. What? Can you do that again? Can you do it again? Oh my god.
Sammy was extraordinarily surprised to see that the spirit actually moved the bottle and was starting to think that maybe it was there to help her. The fact that it had never done anything too far and actually listened to her made her think that it was potentially on her side, and so she decided to keep it around for longer. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future inclusions of Sammy in these videos, because her story will not end here. If you had to guess one place which would contain some of the craziest nights ever, then you would likely guess a boys' room, and I wouldn't blame you. All it takes is 2 boys, and there will be fights, jokes, and a mess. But in this instance, the cause of all the chaos was not the boys in there. The time was 6:30 in the morning, and after completing an all-nighter, the trio of boys were all rather tired. Nothing can wake you up more than a spirit though, and perhaps that's all this one wanted to do. Have a watch.
شكله ايش يلا نطلع برا
At first, the boy who sat up assumed something had just lost balance and collapsed, so he wasn't really too scared when it happened. However, the following falls were horrific for all 3 of them, and they eventually sprinted out of the room. Afterwards, they made it known that a strange and cold feeling surrounded them at the time, and they could almost sense that they were no longer alone. It was a truly frightening experience, and they all hoped to never come across anything like it again. CCTV or cameras in general are supposed to capture crime and make sure that culprits are found and dealt with accordingly. Whilst they do this job successfully and contribute to thousands of arrests every year, they also catch some unexpected things that leave the humans monitoring them in complete and utter disbelief. The time was 12:32 at night, and Shirley was woken up by a buzz on her phone. In case it was important, she decided to check it, and to her surprise, it was her camera, alarming her that it had managed to capture motion in her living room. Confused, she opened the app. The doll was moving ever so slowly, and this was not some sort of special battery-operated doll. It should not have been moving at all. In retaliation, Shirley went downstairs and threw the doll out the window before going back to bed and feeling safe. The next day, it was gone. She can only hope that some children came and took it. The following video featured two work colleagues looking at their Instagram to see if they had been looking fine in the new post. This should have been a minute-long activity before they got to work again, but to their dismay, they noticed something shocking. The place where the footage was taken was a hospital in Los Angeles, and nobody can explain what happened to this day.
A girl.
I see it.
You see that?
Yeah.
The next clip is of hay. That's the person that does not exist.
And then scroll.
And then
he
gone.
disappears.
He disappears. You kind of see a little shadow there pop up and gone. And then all you see is Wendy's back.
Interesting.
But his face, if you go a little slower, you can see it completely. Let me go to the frame. There, you can catch his face.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And scroll all the way.
And then he's gone.
I want to look at the shadow.
And the shadow pops up right here, there, and gone. It's not her. It's not Wendy's shadow.
Some sort of mysterious face who no one could pin an identity to was present that day, and the security team decided to look into it after being prompted to by their boss. They checked every single camera in the establishment and didn't notice anyone entering the place who wasn't supposed to. They knew that the facility hadn't been infiltrated, but the bottom line is that this was not a positive thing and only raised more fear. Amelia has been haunted for many months now and is more than okay with the occasional disturbance. At first, she became terrified every time something happened, but it got to a point where she accepted that whatever was causing this wasn't going to hurt her and that she was safe, so practically ignored it. However, one day some banging started and it lasted for 4 solid hours until she finally mustered up the courage to go upstairs and investigate what the source may have been. This is the footage that she managed to capture. The fact that the curtains were held in their position for a good 2 seconds proved that whatever caused it was physically holding them in place, and Amelia's mind instantly started to paint some sort of demon sitting on the windowsill. Using the last bit of bravery she had inside her, she checked behind the curtains. Nothing. Ghost hunting is an occupation only taken on by the most bold of people, and Ehan is one of these. He charges high rates for insanely scary hauntings, so his job is likely one of the most frightening in the world. But money is money, and Ehan does what he can for it. The following video is some footage from one of Ehan's hunts, and he somehow managed to capture a spirit talking back to him, which is a very rare occurrence.
مش هاي المروحة رعب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. في حد هون؟ أحلى إشي. صداع هذا أذى لعيوني. الطاقة والله مغامرة، موقع حلو. الله يسعد مساكم واستودعكم الله. مش قادر أتأخر الصراحة أكثر من هيك يعني. وترقبوني في مواقع جديدة. حلوت، خلوني يحلو.
The red ambience made this clip far creepier, and rightfully so, because what Ehan caught was amazing and spooky. He managed to make $300 from this small piece of footage alone, so it's safe to say he wasn't fazed in the slightest. James and his family had been suffering from some form of haunting for the past few months, and none of them had any clue why the spirits had decided to choose them of all families. They never visited locations with paranormal connections, had barely any passed away family members, and were even strong believers in God. So if you could bet on a family to experience these kinds of things, it would not be them. However, one fateful night when everyone except James was asleep, he was able to capture the phenomenon that defied all of the odds.
Come on, I want you to do something. Oh, I hope I caught that. That was weird. Thank you for doing that. I just need you to do something else. Are you just playing with me? We're gonna keep the camera right there on that thing.
Somehow, the pan from James's daughter's toy set dropped to the floor without any probable cause, which certainly took poor James back. Instinctively, he went to go and investigate the surrounding area of the toy to find its cause, but to his dismay, nothing appeared. In October of 2010, a camera was set up in an English classroom to record a teaching session for evaluation purposes. The teacher had come under a lot of scrutiny recently for their students not passing as many exams as they should have been, so the principal wanted a good look into what could potentially be causing this, and who was to blame. For months before this recording, tons of paranormal events had been happening in this classroom, but the teacher dismissed it and pinned the cause to the children, causing too much movement and things of the sort. This makes a lot of sense, considering what happened in the clip that you are about to see.
I'll send this on tonight.
Okay guys, remember what I said this morning then? Said the camera's not there, that's just there so that my boss can see what we've been doing in our lessons. Right, what were we talking about this morning? What have we been doing this morning?
Safety in the community.
Excellent, thanks. Yeah, safety in the community. Okay, good, Stephen. So we've been talking about dangers that we might face when we're out and about. What dangers might we bump into? Stephen, don't do that, please. It's distracting. Right, okay, well, whoever it was, don't do that, please. Go on.
Drugs.
Drugs, excellent. Yeah, drugs. Okay, so that's one thing. Someone give me another one then.
Strangers.
Strangers.
I just moved out his home.
It definitely seemed that way, didn't it? Right. What we're going to do, we need to. I tell you what, guys. Let's just go out for a minute. Follow me.
Unfortunately, the teacher's lesson was interrupted by paranormal activity, and at first, he actually assumed it was the children playing some sort of prank on him. Worried about his job, but more concerned about the children in these classes, the teacher brought the video forward to the principal, who was surprisingly supportive. She explained that he did the right thing to evacuate them from the class, and whilst he would still be under close monitoring, she was proud of him for making that call. I wish that teacher and the children the best of futures. Like our last clip, the following paranormal event was not a standalone incident and involved a boy who had been experiencing a lot of ghostly scenarios in recent times. His name was Duncan, and like any regular teenager, his main occupations at the time consisted of college and football. Supposedly, his house had been haunted for quite some time, leading up to the clip, and him, his parents, and his cat were all becoming stressed out about it. This footage was an attempt to catch the spirit in its acts on camera for the world to see, and this is how it went.
Dude, I swear to God, I think there's something going on in my house. Like, this is gonna be ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Something's freaking my cat out. There's like, oh my God, I think it's about last night. Oh my God, but there's like something going on in my house. I swear to God, like, I've been hearing noises and shit. Like, I have a feeling it has something to do with that Durumasan bath challenge I did last night or something. I don't know what's going on. This is really weird. I don't even get it. Oh my God! Happened right on camera. I don't know if I caught that or not. Oh my God. I swear to God, something's freaking my cat out and whatnot. I don't know if I saw that on camera. It happened right in front of me as I was recording. Oh, hell no.
Strangely, the toy plane jumped from underneath the desk without any sort of human interaction, and the likelihood is that this was due to a ghost. Duncan was fortunate to have captured this on camera because he finally had the evidence to contact a priest about banishing evil spirits from his home, and this process is currently being carried out. The following video started off with an innocent boy filming his house to prove to his parents that he didn't throw a house party whilst they were on vacation, but it slowly turned into the most horrifying night of his life. His name was Neil, and his parents left him in charge of the house whilst they were traveling all across America. They didn't trust him and demanded a video every evening to prove that nothing fishy was going on, and the clip I am going to show you is one of these recordings. Have a watch.
Nakita yung camera. Ito. Kalilipat lang kasi namin dito eh. May mahingi na yun. Walang mag-isa dito eh. Nakatilaw. Wala yun. Na yun. Tay, sira ang cellphone ko. Lah. Ayun. Sa tilaw. Lah, wala namang tao eh. Lah. Lah.
Items started to move all around the house without any known reason, and after sending this to his parents, they instantly booked a flight back down to Spain, where they all lived. It took 2 days for them to arrive back home, but when they did, they rushed straight to their telephone to call someone they knew very well, who happened to be a ghost hunter. We received no updates from here, because unlike Neil, his parents liked to keep things low-key. On November 13th of 2024, Juan Carlos was relaxing on his day off from work when someone or something took it upon itself to end this state of relaxation. The time was 11:45 at night, and Juan was catching up on the recent episodes of his favorite show. All seemed calm and unthreatening, until a persistent knock could be heard. Juan went to check behind the door, and nobody was on the other side, to which he went back to relaxing. For some odd reason, though, the knocking started again, and this time he took his mobile device with him to check.
Son las 1 de la mañana, mi gente. Miren, son las 1 de la mañana. Y están tocando la puerta de mi casa, señores. Están tocando la puerta de mi casa. ¿Quién es? Señores, miren. ¿Quién es? Señores, miren. Están tocando la puerta de mi casa. Y no sé quién es, miren. No sé quién es, señores. Son las 1 de la mañana, mi gente. Y me encuentro en el cementerio, en la puerta. Ay, Dios mío, Señor, la sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Dios mío. ¿Quién es? ¿Quién es? O sea, miren, que no hay nadie, señores. No sé quién es que está tocando la puerta de mi casa, señores. No sé lo que es. Oh, Dios mío. Señores. Señores, por favor, oren por mí, por favor, ayúdenme, señores. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. La sangre de Cristo tiene poder. Ay, señores. Miren. Sí. Miren. Quiero que camine en el sí, señores. Quiero que caminen en el sí, señores. Hay algo en el sí, señores. Hay algo en el sí, señores. Oh, papá Dios, ayúdenme.
Juan responded extremely fast to the knocking, so I refused to believe that any human could have run away in time to avoid being caught, if this was a game of ding-dong ditch. The only logical solution to this is that some sort of spirit was trying to disturb Juan's peace, and if that was its goal, it most certainly succeeded. At 1:21 in the morning, most people would be asleep, and this was the situation for Caroline. Ironically, Caroline lived in Carolina in a small house which she was only renting due to a poor financial situation. Recent residents of the house had never reported anything weird, or to take note of other than a past pest infestation, but the owners claimed that there was no risk of this happening again. Eager for a home, Caroline started living in the home, and this brings us to the day that she was asleep because for some odd reason, an unpredictable event occurred.
Like a loud boom. I was literally in a dead sleep. You can hear the girls laughing, but I don't know what it was. It was just something loud, and it woke me up. And now my room is creeping me out. There's like something going, I don't know. I'm gonna let you guys listen to it. I'm gonna shut up now, and hopefully I can catch it on camera. Okay, I flipped the camera. Did you hear that? Oh my god. Okay, this is my room, and it's dark. I'm gonna turn the light on a little. Okay, that was my heater that turned on. That's the girls. Okay. I keep hearing, oh my god, my eyes are watering so bad. I'm gonna sit up. Whatever's in here, you are not welcome. Please leave. Oh, my eyes are watering so bad. My dog's about to get up and go crazy. My dog is just staring right over there somewhere. And it sounds like someone's walking in my room. I'm gonna shut up now. You guys tell me if you hear anything besides the girls. My eyes are watering so bad because it scared me so bad. hear anything anymore. When I first turned it on, I did. Let me turn the camera on again. Did you hear that? Oh my God. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You are not welcome here. I knew it was going to start getting crazy here. Oh my God. I hope you guys heard that.
If you were listening closely, some form of footsteps could be heard, and they definitely weren't coming from the girls' room. These footsteps were not your usual ones too, because they were rather aggressive and felt like some sort of soldier were marching, which could likely be what the spirit in question was when it was in a human form. After ending the recording, Caroline cried for a while and felt too frightened to leave her bed. We will certainly include more of her clips in the future if you want to follow her story, so be sure to subscribe. On January 9th this year, Amanda and her daughter Steph were in the house together when something absurd happened out of the blue. The two of them had just finished eating lunch, and the daughter, Steph, volunteered to do the dishes whilst Amanda laid down. This was quite wholesome to see a daughter catering for her mother, but of course a ghost had to swoop in and ruin this moment. Just to inform you, you have to listen very closely to understand what happened in this clip, so pay attention. Right at the end of the clip, some sort of growling noise could be heard, and Steppo claimed that it happened right behind her. Of course, Amanda didn't believe this at first, because it was such a strange statement, but after reviewing the footage, she had no choice but to trust that what happened was true. Babies are undeniably the cutest things on our planet, but all it takes is one little action to change that, upset them. A baby's cry is super disturbing because nobody wants to see someone at such a young stage in life in such grief. So when Juan, the person who filmed the following footage, heard a baby crying in the public bathroom, he had to go and check if it was okay.
No. No. Hola. No mames. ¿Se escucha un bebé? No mames. Güey, ¿se escucha un bebé? No mames. Güey. No mames. ¿Un bebé?
To his utter disbelief, there was no baby to be found, and as if this wasn't weird already, the doors started to swing open and close to prove a point to Juan. This place was haunted, and he needed to make an exit. He would have been stupid to stay. Thank God he wasn't. Martin, a cybersecurity specialist, had lost his job due to the numerous layoffs from the COVID-19 tech breakdown. For 2 years, he had been looking for a full-time job that would help him provide for his family. He had taken a few part-time gigs here and there to help him stay afloat, but he was barely surviving. With a pregnant wife and a 2-year-old to take care of, there was no way he could keep up with just gigs. One random Sunday afternoon, he decided to hack into a company he knew that handled the mail for most of the states in his region. It wasn't a big company, but he had a plan: hack the company and ask for a job. It worked. They realized they needed better cybersecurity infrastructure to keep their customers safe. They asked him to come over to their headquarters a few miles away. That meant one thing: Martin needed to sell his house. He put it up on an auction website, as he didn't want the hassle that real estate agents brought with them. The next day, he was on a video call with a prospective buyer when this happened.
Angelika, co robisz? Angelika? Co tu robisz? Co robisz? Spadły ten. Stój ty na podłogę.
Ale jak spadło?
Widziałaś to? Ja pierdolę!
First, there was a slow noise coming from his bedroom that seemingly only he could hear. Then some utensils in the kitchen and the vase in his living room literally started moving before his eyes. Martin couldn't help but freak out. He had no idea that his house had poltergeist activity. The next day, he took out a loan from his friend and moved to the company headquarters with his wife and kids. He was sure he didn't even want to sell the house anymore. He just didn't want anything to do with spirits and all that paranormal stuff. Alexis had just moved into a new apartment in a new city. He had moved away from his wife and kids after losing everything he had built to her in a divorce case. He knew he would lose. He had cheated on Kira numerous times and wasn't surprised when the judge gave his verdict. However, that wasn't his major problem right now. Something else was. He had a poltergeist problem in his home and needed to solve it as soon as possible. He had noticed it 2 weeks after he renovated the rundown house. It was in terrible shape when he bought it, but it was cheap, and he just needed to spend a few $100s on renovations to get it into great condition. However, a few weeks in, he started noticing strange things. First, it was the flickering lights, then random banging on doors at night, and eventually, a total thrashing of his house at some point. He searched online and found a world-renowned exorcist who promised to get rid of all sorts of paranormal activity. All Alexis had to do was upload a video of the activity and send it to the exorcist for analysis. Alexis was able to capture this footage on 2 cameras. he heard some noise in his kitchen cabinet, a slow, somewhat rhythmic banging that seemed to be saying something. He checked it out with a camera in hand and sent it to the exorcist. After 2 weeks, he received this message. Run for your life. These types of activities are from territorial principalities. They own the house and I cannot help you. Alexis was struck by fear. That same day, he moved out and found a motel to stay in. In the end, he had to move back to his city, finding a house that he first vetted with a local exorcist. Julian was what most people would call a digital nomad. He had a 6-figure paying job and could work from anywhere in the world, so he decided to travel while working. After 2 months of staying in Bali, he decided it was time to move again. He wasn't sure where he was going, but he was certain he'd try a smaller city this time because the big cities always seemed crowded. Julian wanted some peace and quiet. He found a sleepy Swiss town called Corripio and decided to give it a try. When he got there, the town was exactly what he wanted, quiet. Julian worked from his Airbnb for a few days, but one day he decided to try out a cafe he had seen around. It was quiet and empty. There was no one in the cafe. Absolutely no one, not even an attendant. Julian decided to dust off a chair and table and sat there. He worked until dusk, and there was no sign of anyone walking in or out. It was very strange, but Julian brushed it off. It was a small town of about 25 people, plus tourists, so it wasn't really a big deal. The next day, the same thing happened, and the next, and the next. Julian decided to take a walk around the cafe after a few days of inactivity. That was when this happened. He literally saw one of the chairs on the balcony move on its own. He freaked out, took a few steps back, and ran. When he got downstairs, he packed his stuff and left as quietly as he had entered. The next day, he talked to his tour guide about what had happened, but she laughed it off, saying that it was normal. The cafe had been owned by a local, and now his spirit took care of the place, even though he was dead. Roland with me is a well-known YouTuber and a paranormal investigator. He lives in Texas and had a few other apartments across the country. However, one day he found something odd in his trash can, an old, freaky doll. At first, Roland thought it was one of his paranormal friends trying to play a trick on him, so he just took the trash out as usual and threw the doll with it. A week later, just when his trash needed to be taken out again, he found the same doll sitting atop his trash. This time, Roland decided to be smart about it. He got some spray paint, marked the foot of the doll, and threw the trash away like nothing happened. A week later, he found the doll again. He checked its foot without touching it and saw the small pink stain from the spray paint. Roland almost freaked out, but he knew what to do. He was going to interrogate the doll.
On right here, look at this. That doll was just moving. That was legit moving. As soon as I started this app. Are you here near this doll? Are you attached to this doll, making things move in this house and outside? It said yes. How come you keep moving around? Shit. It's moving. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. All right. Are you done? Are you making this doll move? The doll is moving right now. Okay. All right, this doll is legit moving. Did you destroy my table? Shit. That is still moving. You're moving the doll right now, right? Do you want to go to Pennsylvania? Do you want to go to Pennsylvania, yes or no? No.
He used an app that could decipher white noise from spirits to get it to talk. After the interrogation, Roland was sure the doll was cursed. He wasn't exactly scared at that point because he had a thing for cursed dolls. They were his forte anyway. He knew to keep his camera on so he could analyze it later. Then, he went into his house and was about to get some of his stuff when this happened.
Pennsylvania. And my happy place? Totally destroyed. So now I got to deal with a broken happy place, and I don't even know what, what am I gonna... That just went from there to here. And for the skeptics, there are no strings attached. I believe it's gotta be the doll in there. Because that doll right there, when I go near it, it moves away, right? And then over here, that's moving towards me. So what does that mean? You know what that means? That doll wants this to stay here. That staying here means that I'm not going anywhere with the doll. I'm getting in the car. I'm going to Pennsylvania. And that's just the way it is. I am not backing down. I'm not letting this try to control me. It's not happening. I got enough shit going on in my life. I don't need this to control me, so that's going back in the car. I don't care. That's just what's happening. I mean, this went all over the place. This back and forth, this moving by itself, everything moving all around. It's not scaring me. It's aggravating me. But yeah, let me get this.
The luggage he had packed that morning for a flight literally followed him. That meant something scary. The doll had access to his house. For context, Roland's house was a fortress, spiritually. He had enough crucifixes, salt, and potions to survive a full-blown vampire attack. However, if the doll could get in, that meant he wasn't dealing with just a doll. Roland's decided to do the one thing he was sure would keep him safe for a while: run. He picked up his stuff, got into his car, and drove to his nearest apartment in Kentucky. At least he would be safe there for now. The past few months had been one of grief for Erin. For the past few months, she had spent most of her days crying or sleeping. Erin had lost the most important person in her life, her dad. She was alone now in this world. She was the only child of her parents, and her mum had passed away years ago when she was still in high school. Now, her dad had joined her in heaven. Erin's dad dying was already tragic enough, but what was much more tragic was the way he had died. He had died in one of the strangest ways ever, a freak accident in his workshop that decapitated his right hand and left leg. It was horrific. Erin knew her father didn't deserve to die like that. He was a peaceful and loving man. After a few months, the funeral finally came around. Erin's extended family and a few friends came around to sympathize with her. She had quit her job a few weeks earlier so she could stay in her dad's house for a few weeks to reconnect after his passing. It was in those few weeks that a lot changed. She stuck around town and heard people talk about her dad in a strange way. They said he was a wizard of some sort. Others called him an exorcist, a mind reader, and countless other things. This was not the father she knew. Erin waved off all the weird talk and just decided to drown herself in her sorrow. Then, on one of the nights, something happened.
I need help. I took this video at like 2:30 this morning and I don't know what to do. Oh god, something's in the bathroom. There's no way something is in the bathroom downstairs. So now it's almost 8 a.m. I'm not positive, but I have to imagine whatever it was is still in there. 1, what the heck could it be? 2, what do I do? Because I am not opening that door.
She heard some banging in the basement that housed the workshop where her father had died. She was scared to go check, so she just took a video and, after a few days, decided to show it to a local priest she had known all her life. It was then that the actual truth of who her father was came to light. He really was an exorcist and had worked with Father Aaron before to terminate spirits. He told her the home needed a cleansing. Erin couldn't believe her ears, but Father Aaron had sufficient proof and told her everything she needed to know. In the meantime, he offered her a room in the parsonage to stay. A day later, he performed the cleansing, and just when he was about to leave, he gave her a diary that her dad had kept while he was alive. It was in this book that Erin really got to know who her father truly was. Alex ran an orphanage for kids in Lyon, France. She had inherited it after her mother passed. Her mom didn't want it to end up being run by corrupt charities that would use it as a cash siphon. So she willed it to Alex so it would stay in the family. Alex loved kids, but somehow she had married a prick who didn't. Her husband Joey abandoned her after he found out she was pregnant, so she had to raise her 2-year-old son, Harry, and the kids at the orphanage as well. She had help in the person of Edward, an older man who helped her mum run the orphanage as well. The two had a lot of work cut out for them, but somehow they managed. One day, after a hard day at work, Alex was surprised to hear some banging in her trunk. She checked, and one of the kids, Jeremy, had been in her trunk all the while. It was late, and there was no way she could get him back to the orphanage that day. Jeremy ended up sleeping in her house that night, but that was when tragedy struck. Jeremy lost his life in Alex's house that night. In fact, when the police found out, she was arrested. The only way she got out was because they found CCTV footage of Jeremy entering the trunk by himself, and the autopsy showed Jeremy had had a heart attack. It was improbable for his age, but that was what the autopsy showed. After Alex got home that day, she started to realize strange things happening. Shaking windows, loud noises that she could not trace, and the like. The freakiest of her experiences was a cold summer night, the last straw that broke the camel's back.
faut une putain de manette pour ce truc-là. Elle est où la manette? Elle est où la manette, putain?
She had heard a strange noise at her door that night and went out to check. She found her son's toy in front of her door, but the problem was her son had been asleep for more than an hour. She looked around and even checked up on him in his room. Then she remembered Jeremy. It kind of made sense now. The toys getting missing, the trunk moving on its own accord. Alex knew exactly what she needed: a cleansing. Her mother had it once when a child died on orphanage grounds. The very next morning, she talked to Edward, and they called Father Julius. He told them to leave the house for 2 days while he did his job. Alex took Harry to a friend's house for the 2 days. After that, all the paranormal activity stopped. Eliscar was supposed to spend a few days of his Christmas break with his child alone. His wife, Laurentia, had traveled to go see her parents for a few weeks, so that meant it was going to be just him and baby Camilla. He wasn't too bothered. He was up to the task. In fact, he was looking forward to doing all the stuff his wife had complained about. The first few days were a bit of a hassle. He had forgotten to change the diaper before bed. He had fed her too much at night, which meant she was up most of the night disturbing him. But after a few days, he found his flow and was able to do almost all the baby chores without having to call his wife. However, Eliscar realized one day that something wasn't exactly right. A few things had been missing from their places. They seemed to move slightly away from where he had kept them. Also, it seemed as if baby Camilla would sometimes trash up the house and get things all rattled up. She was too little to be able to do some of the thrashing, as it seemed. Things kept getting worse and worse until one day he caught this on camera while on a video call with his wife.
Voy a ver que no haya nadie aquí en la casa, que se supone que todos salieron de viaje.
Hey.
He had heard a noise in the background and had gone to check. He checked the bathroom and the guest room only to turn back and realize something tragic.
Hey. Hey, mi bebé está allá. Mi bebé está allá adentro. ¿Qué pasó, mi amor? ¿Qué pasó? Vente, mi amor. Vente, bebé. Ya, mi amor. Ya, mi amor.
The door had been shut behind him, and he was having trouble getting in. He pushed and pushed, but it didn't budge. Then he said a mumbled prayer casting out demons, and it opened. Eliscar picked up baby Camilla and went through the house looking for any traces of paranormal activity.
¿Vieron eso? ¿Vieron eso? Solo lo vi. No, si no tengo que llevar a mi bebé de aquí.
After that, he slowly backed out and left the building. He wasn't sure what was going on, but he didn't care. He wanted his baby safe. He found a family hotel and lodged for the night. The next morning, he took time out to think about what had happened and what the problem really was. And then it hit him. He and Laurentia had fired one of their nannies a few months back. She was an older lady in her late 70s. Elescar had seen her doing some weird prayer with a seemingly weird necklace while carrying baby Camilla. That was how they found out she actually practiced a bit of voodoo. The couple was not too happy about that and fired her. She cursed at them and told them she'd come for their baby, even in her death. Elescar called Laurentia, and they talked about the possibilities. After that, they called up the hiring company and inquired about their former employee. It turned out that she actually just died a few weeks back, right about the time Elescar had started noticing the paranormal activity. Laurentia's mom had heard the whole story and called up a priest friend of hers who she wanted to bless Camilla and protect her from the voodoo nanny. Father Phineas got to their city in a few days. He conducted the blessing and also cleansed the house. After that, all the paranormal activity stopped. The following video was an extremely unsettling one, and for different reasons than usual. Typically on this channel, the reactions to spirits that we watch are full of fear and fright. But the one that I am about to show to you, much different. It took place in a dude's kitchen, and he was simply recording a video for an Instagram story when one of the most unexpected things happened, which made it go viral.
So I know at this point this goes without saying, but I should not drink anymore. I went a whole fucking while without drinking. Without drinking alcohol, and like I was like, hey, let me relax, drink some fucking White Claws, get white girl wasted and all that other shit. And it started happening again. And this isn't like, I mean, it's not news or anything. I figured it's because I drink.
Mid-speech, his protein powder fell to the shelf below its resting spot, which was very odd. What made this clip ever more disturbing, though, was the fact that the boy behind the camera only gave it a pause for a reaction and didn't do anything else. Quite a unique reaction to a unique experience, I must say.